Expected here. This is what we've been talking about for basically the majority of the build up to this show, is that this was going to be the Hottie and Samson show, that it was going to be between those two, and that's exactly what we got. I think we got 3 full rounds of just the two of them posing. So it looks like at least the judges see it as close between Samson and Hottie. But to be completely honest with you guys, as I was watching this, I feel like Hottie's got this. I think Hottie's conditioning here is just too overwhelming. I think he looks, honestly, significantly better than he looked at the Olympia when he lost to Derek. And I think if I'm Derek Lunsford watching this, I'm probably a little bit worried watching this. I think if Hottie looked like this at the Olympia, it might have been a different story, because Hottie looks bigger here. His conditioning looks better. The poses that Derek beat Hottie in at the Olympia that were, I think, the tipping point for Derek taking that title home, the back poses, which is Derek's, that's his strong point. That's really where he excels. And I think that's where Hottie nailed Samson here. Hottie's back shots were really impressive and I think really improved. And that's not to say I don't think Samson looked good here, because he did. I thought Samson looked good. He looked impressive. He looks shapely like he always does. He looks big. He's tall. He's got a lot of nice stage presence. He's very aesthetic for a bigger guy that's, close to 300 pounds, maybe 300 pounds on stage or somewhere around there. But honestly, I'm looking at this and I don't see an improvement in the conditioning of Samson. I think that was the factor that let Hottie beat Samson at the Olympia, is Samson might be a little bit shapelier, a little bit more pleasing to look at than Hottie, but Hottie's conditioning just overwhelms him because Samson doesn't have that same level of crisp, just really razor-sharp detail that Hottie seems to have. And like I said, I feel that Hottie looks better here than he looked at the Olympia in terms of both size and conditioning. I think Samson maybe looks a little bigger here than he looked at the Olympia, so I think Samson may have improved when it comes to size. But honestly, the conditioning from Samson looks to me about the same as the Olympia. So if Hottie beat him at the Olympia the last time they went head-to-head, and Hottie looks better now, in my opinion, at this Arnold, I think Hottie's winning this. I think Hottie's walking away with this thing. And it seems like the judges think it's close. I say that because they did so many rounds of just the two of them posing. So it must not be like a blowout for Hottie. It must be close. But with the difference in conditioning here, I think it's just so noticeable. Even if you prefer Samson's shape, if you prefer the aesthetic look of his physique, Hottie's aesthetic too. I mean, Hottie can pull a deep vacuum. His waist looks small in a lot of those front poses. So while you might prefer Samson, while you might say Samson is more aesthetic and a little bit more pleasing to look at than Hottie, maybe you would say Hottie is blocky or whatever, I think the conditioning difference is just too much of a factor here. I mean, Hottie is clearly on another level of conditioning than Samson. It's like they're on two different playing fields. And again, I'm not saying Samson's conditioning is bad. For Samson, this is pretty good conditioning. But to face somebody like Hottie, I don't see where this would be enough. And I would be really surprised, honestly, if Samson wins this, because Hottie, to me, this looks like one of the best. I don't want to say the best version of Hottie, but it's certainly better than the last Olympia. And I think one of the best that we've seen from him in a few years now. This is a really, really tight version of Hottie. And I think, like we said going into the show, Hottie came in here with a chip on his shoulder. He lost his Olympia title. He had something to prove. And I think he came here and proved that point. So after watching this prejudging, I'm going to say Hottie first, Samson second, Raphael third, John Del Rosa fourth, James Hollingshead fifth, and Antoine Vaillant in sixth. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What are your predictions for this show based on what you saw here at prejudging? And as always, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.